You've probably been hearing about how the world is heading into a recession. Crypto's dumping, the Fed is raising interest rates to record highs, the pound is at historic lows, and China's whole economy is about to collapse. Robert Kiyosaki is even saying we're in an everything bubble, claiming gold and silver can't even save us. So, where do we go? Do we just take all of our money out of the bank and stuff it under our beds? No, please don't do that. I believe DeFi is the solution, and I recently found out about an incredible way to earn over 240% annually on your money, and maybe it can help us weather out this bear market. Let's dive in. As we already know, the Fed has printed over 40% of the total supply of USD just in 2020. This means that the reserve currency that most of the world depends on just became 40% less valuable. But if the biggest fiat currency in the world is dumping, what does that mean for cryptocurrencies and stablecoins like USDC? Well, unfortunately, they just have to come along for the ride. That is, if they actually hold their peg, which most over-collateralized stablecoins do, but the same can't be said for algorithmic stablecoins. Yeah. However, there is one fiat currency that has historically proven to be even more reliable than the US dollar. This currency's steadfastness has actually proven itself over many recessions throughout history, and even through wars. Its reserves were backed 40% by gold until 2000, and now it's reserved 20% by precious metals. And their notes have the coolest theme I've ever seen on a currency, featuring illustrations that celebrate nature and science, with a note that even has the distance in light seconds between Earth and other celestial bodies printed on it. Most importantly, it has been consistently considered a safe haven for the world economy. So what is it? Well, I think it might surprise you, but before that, here's a quick look at what's happening in the world of crypto and DeFi. If you don't know what DeFi is yet, I recommend pausing here and watching my simple explanation linked in this video. Okay, so what's happening with DeFi right now? If you haven't been completely scared away by the bear market now, some really big things have been changing in the world of DeFi right under our noses. One of my favorite things that has risen to the surface has been something called real yield. This has been a real buzzword on DeFi Twitter for the last couple of months. But what is it? And does it imply that there's something called fake yield? Well, yes and no. Real yield is just a term for when DeFi protocols pay out their liquidity providers in ETH or other blue chip tokens. This is opposed to the usual method of paying them out in farm tokens, which are virtually useless and trend towards zero. However, farm tokens can look really enticing because they just have ridiculous APYs, which degens just can't resist. They're actually great for bootstrapping liquidity in a bull market, but they completely fall apart in a bear market. I explain more about this in my previous video here and talk about one of my favorite DeFi protocols that offers some very nice real yield. But the next big topic in DeFi that's been circulating around lately has been around stablecoins. Ever since the whole Terra Luna fiasco, the whole DeFi community has been focusing on how they can improve the reliability of stablecoins. It's been proven now that algorithms really fail to hold a peg over an extended period of time, while a popular solution for most DeFi users has been over-collateralized stablecoins. This isn't anything new, but it has come back into focus as a more reliable method to keeping a stable peg. But as you remember from the beginning of this video, what if the fiat currency it's pegged to becomes hyperinflationary itself? Well, to answer that, let me introduce you to one of my favorite new DeFi projects. DCHF is a new protocol that just released a couple of weeks ago. It's built on the Ethereum network and allows you to take out a loan against your Ethereum in their own stablecoin. The whole platform is actually a fork of another really popular protocol called Liquidity, but DCHF has a special twist. Remember how I said there was a currency that was historically even more stable than the US dollar? Well, that currency is the Swiss franc. And if you couldn't tell from the DCHF logo, the Swiss franc is actually the fiat currency that they've chosen to peg their stablecoin to. They do this through the very popular and robust over-collateralization method, having at least a 110% backing of ETH at all times. Now, they've got some very clever but also complex tokenomics, which helps their protocol function, but I'll do my best to try and simplify it as much as possible. A common thing I like to check before considering any new DeFi platform now is how they generate revenue, just like any regular business that you might want to invest in. In the case of DCHF, they have a relatively straightforward revenue model. Users simply deposit their Ethereum, choose how much they want to borrow, and then pay a small borrow fee. Sometimes this fee can be 0.5% and sometimes it can be 0% depending on the market conditions. But even 1% wouldn't really be a great source of revenue. So how do they offer such a competitive yield for the liquidity providers? The key is how much people choose to borrow from their collateral. Say you deposit $5,000 worth of Ethereum to take out a $4,500 loan. You'd pretty much just get liquidated straight away and lose all your Ethereum if the price of ETH dropped by even $1. But that liquidated Ethereum is actually rewarded to liquidity providers at a premium, meaning that they get more back than what they loaned due to DCHF's liquidation reserve fee. This is an extra $200 that the borrower has to lock up if they want to take out a loan, but they do get it back when they repay the loan. So you can think of this $200 as just like a bond when you rent out an apartment. It just covers the cost of things going pear-shaped. So as you can probably see now, liquidations is where the real revenue comes in. The simplest way to not get liquidated though is to just over-collateralize your loan with a large enough margin, like only borrowing $2,000 of your $5,000 worth of Ethereum. This way you have a nice amount of headroom for the price of ETH to move around before you're at risk of liquidation. Now, DCHF goes one level deeper and has something called a recovery mode. This is something I haven't actually seen in DeFi before, but it essentially acts as a deterrent for risky loans to protect the protocol from going into a death spiral. Essentially, if there's extreme volatility in the market, DCHF actually starts liquidating positions that have under 150% of Ethereum worth of collateral against their loan, instead of the usual 110%. This creates some very unique circumstances and raises a few questions. And it's hard to tell whether this recovery mode system will actually work or not until we see it really battle tested in some choppy market conditions. In summary, I am very bullish on any DeFi protocols that are trying new things, especially with real yield. And I'd already learned at university that the Swiss franc had been historically one of the most reliable and stable fiat currencies in the world. So seeing a new DeFi project like DCHF creating a stablecoin pegged to the franc is really a no-brainer to me. I'm personally investing a large chunk of my crypto portfolio into this protocol, and I'll just be keeping an eye on it to see how it goes over the month. Because in bear markets like this and my time spread across a bunch of different work, I personally find it much easier to just play the long game with these safer stablecoin strategies. My hope that by the end of this bear market, my safer long-term strategies will have paid off, creating a nice little pile of liquidity for me to play around with in the next bull market. But who knows if this is going to work out or not. Maybe I should just go buy some monkey JPEGs. I don't know. Anyways, if you want to learn more about DCHF and maybe give it a try for yourself, I recommend you go check out this other video by Thor, who does a really good job of walking through it step by step. Anyways, that's all from me today. I'll see you in the next video.